Good morning, AYS. What is happening? There I am. What is happening? It's been way too long. Hopefully, your boy sounds a little bit better than what he did this past week. Feeling a little bit better on this Father's Day weekend. Father's Day weekend. I hope everybody's doing good. If you haven't heard, and a lot of people have been asking, I've been feeling underneath the weather as to why we have not been doing the show. But we are back in the saddle. We're ready to go. So we're back. We got a lot to talk about. We'll get if it's your first time doing a morning show, we get to all of your comments. We talk a lot. We kind of just let it loose. We let it roll. We do have some topics this morning that we do have to get to. The LSU baseball coaching search continues. What's the freaking truth? What's the truth? Look, people can put down on me and say that I'm a conspiracy theorist about what I'm about to say. I don't really give a shit. Early this morning, it's the truth. Call me what you want. We're about to tell you the truth. Hashtag Ask Blake, as we do on every Saturday. And is LSU the biggest sleeper in college football this season? I think that they are. We'll talk about that as well. All right, before we pay some bills, Kurt Paul says, good morning, boys. Shannon Williams says, and we are live. That we are. Stan Polkey says, let's go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My man celebrating a anniversary with him and his beautiful wife. Congratulations, my friend. Robert Plaisant says, good morning, AYS. Good morning, sir. Ryan Thibodeau says, and we are live, AYS Morning Edition. Good morning, Blake and everybody else. Good morning. What would y'all do if we went live and then the after the beat dropped and it's just somebody else's face? It's not. We're back. We're back. Jeremy Marshall says, something fishy's going around with LSU baseball. No way a top-tier program like LSU baseball and a coaching hire search should be this quiet. Do you think it's that freaky, Jeremy? Excuse me. I thought I was going to be okay. I thought I was going to be okay. We got a little cough there. So let's talk about the truth. Well, Kurt Paul says, question, who's your daddy? Louis J. Ruffino is my daddy. And I'm everybody else's daddy. All right, let's do this. Let's pay some very quick bills around here. Guys, you got to go over to my good friends over at betonline.ag. The month of June is heating up. I know we're in a tropical storm right now, but the month of June is heating up. Guys, use your mobile device. Sign up. The online sports gambling is about to be happening. Get signed up for BetOnline. You will get 50% off of your first welcome bonus and your first deposit. That's betonline.ag. BetOnline.ag and our good friends over at moinkbox.com. Guys, if you want beef, if you want pork, if you want lamb, if you want chicken, if you want fish, Moinkbox is the place to go. It's like the Hello Fresh only for meats. Guys, the steaks are fantastic. The pork is fantastic. The lamb is fantastic. Everything. The chicken is fantastic. You got to go over to moinkbox.com. If you go over there today and you sign up and you go to moinkbox.com/believe, they will give you a free year of bacon. Free year of bacon. Who doesn't want a free stinking year of bacon? For every box that's purchased. Go to moinkbox.com. That's moinkbox.com. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you. I want my stupid free year of bacon. By the way, they've already sent me stuff, so it doesn't really matter. But dude, it's really good. Their food's really good. Stanley Pokey says, go get Bianco. Stanley says, you beautiful son of a gun. Thank you, sir. Kirk Paul says, looking better. I feel better. I feel better. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. As John Ditch says, good morning, gents, from Dancing Rabbit in Philadelphia, Mississippi. Okay, I know where Philadelphia, Mississippi is. Okay. Yeah, hit him long. If you're playing some golf, hit him long and hit him straight. Let's talk about this because I do feel like I come on here every Saturday and have to say that there's been shitty reporting from people that cover LSU. And let me say this. Let me say this from the beginning. I don't think that all the information is wrong. Okay? I don't completely believe that everything that everybody has run out there from an information standpoint is wrong, because it's not. It just simply isn't. What I will tell you is this. In this job that we have, in me doing a podcast, people that do radio, people that cover LSU, either by reporting or by TV, whatever it might be, we have a job to do. We have a job to do in the sense of we can't run out there with every loose and baseless claim about who's going to be the next head coach of anything. We can't do that. So let's run down the track record, if you don't remember, of what has happened. First, it was Kevin O'Sullivan. I do think in the beginning that there was some truth behind Kevin O'Sullivan. I think that they did their due diligence and said, hey, you know what? Kevin O'Sullivan's a national championship winning head coach, which that's what Scott Woodward likes, right? Scott Woodward likes coaches when he hires them that have won a national title. In there, and it felt like that everybody was reporting it's about to be Kevin O'Sullivan. Do you remember the couple of weeks? But you know, the last 2 weeks, everybody was like, "Oh, it's Kevin O'Sullivan." And I'm not going to call out names. It's Kevin O'Sullivan. It's Kevin O'Sullivan. It's Kevin O'Sullivan. I'm not saying I'm the person that ended him and Pat Casey, but guys, LSU did their due diligence on Kevin O'Sullivan. They did their due diligence, and it wasn't good. The man's got some serious off-the-field issues. Here's the truth, and I might be too medicated to say this. My wife walks in and closes the door. I might be too medicated, but he's doing some off-the-field stuff. I'm glad she came in. It's probably the Lord telling me not to say it. Then Pat Casey. Look, I'm hearing, and people at the AD's office have told me, everybody's saying that Pat Casey flew into LSU into Baton Rouge and did an interview. Now, I believe that he did. I believe it was that close. I believe that they were going to hire Pat Casey until we lost it. Fans lost it on him. I think that there was a chance that they were going to hire Pat Casey. I also feel like it was a smokescreen too, because Scott Woodward don't give two Rudy Poos about anything. Scott Woodward doesn't care what you say to him on Twitter. If Pat Casey was the guy, he would have done it. He would have done it. I don't think that Pat Casey pulled out from Scott Woodward. And now we got Mike Bianco. So we've been talking about more about Mike Bianco over the last 3 days than 3 episodes, I should say, than anything. Now, I told you on Monday and Tuesday on our show that if we don't have an announcement by Friday, that our coach is in Omaha. And I believe that. I fully believe that. O'Connor from Virginia, Tony Vitello from Tennessee, Tim Corbin from Vanderbilt. Maybe Jake Gautreaux from Mississippi State could be an option. But at this point, I don't think it's Mike Bianco. Nor really should it. And I know that some people like Mike Bianco. I know that he's experienced. I know that he's won a lot of SEC games. I know that he's really well liked. But we were told this past Tuesday from people that report LSU news that Mike Bianco was in town. He wasn't in town. We were told that Mike Bianco was going to accept the job Wednesday or Thursday of this week. He didn't accept the job. What do we know? Mike Bianco didn't formally meet with LSU until Thursday of this past week. Thursday. So he wasn't in here on Tuesday. He wasn't here on Wednesday. And the truth is he wasn't here on Thursday. He wasn't. Still did an interview. So did Cliff Godwin, the ECU coach. So I think that there has been, and maybe to Scott Woodward's credit, some bad reporting by the same. He might be trying to find leaks, but it's been bad reporting. You got to sift through the bullshit. I hear from somebody at LSU, hey, Mike Bianco's on campus, okay? The first thing that I do is I go run to people at Mississippi State and ask them, hey, have y'all seen Mike Bianco recently? And I had one Ole Miss source. It's the craziest thing ever. I had somebody this past week that told me Mike Bianco was on LSU's campus. They confirmed it, okay? Well, I go to Ole Miss, and Ole Miss people, they're like, are you sure? Because he's playing golf in Oxford right now. Like, we got eyes on him. Unreal, bro. Some very fishy and shitty reporting. Adam says, dang, homie, you still sick? I a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. We're going to be fine. I'll probably be really good for Monday. Lester Abear, what's up, Lester? He says, I have to feel Kane wanted to stay in Baton Rouge. Let me say this. I don't think he wanted to stay in Baton Rouge, and I don't think Nolan Kane's a good coach. I really don't think he's a good coach. Also don't think he's a good recruiter. Yeah. I'll leave it there. Ryan Thibodeau says the new LSU baseball coach is still coaching. Hence, that's why Kane left for A&M. Probably. And look, I don't want people to freak out, right? Like, I don't want people to freak out in reference to, oh my God, we don't have anything. Let's go now. Make the right coaching hire and then let everything fall in place. You'll be okay. Kids aren't going to leave. Not yet, anyway. Preston says, Blake, please tell me Mississippi State head coach to be in the mix is not true. I don't know that. I mean, I wouldn't mind Jake Gautreaux, one of the assistants at Mississippi State. I wouldn't mind Gautreaux, but I don't think LSU's. That's not Scott Woodward hire. He's not going to hire an assistant. He'd rather hire somebody that's close to winning a national championship or actually won one. Look, and for people that want Tony Vitello, you better hope he goes 0-2. You better hope Tony Vitello goes 0-2. Stanley Polky says Kane didn't want to stay, or he would have any. Let me read that. Kane didn't want to stay, or he would have any coach would have kept him. Yeah, I think that they would have kept him, but I just don't think he's a good coach. I'm gonna be honest. I think he's a crappy recruiter. And as Stanley Polky says, Mississippi State coach is not in the mix. I agree with that. Gary Donovan says fake news. What's fake news, Gary? Brian Williams says good morning, Blake. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Ryan Mayer says morning, Blake. Good morning, sir. Lester asks a good question. So does Kane leaving mean the next coach knows who he's going to be bringing in? Maybe not necessarily. Not necessarily, but I think they know that Nolan. Look, I think Nolan. Look, I probably was a little too harsh. Nolan probably is a really good good coach, but I hate his recruiting. Like, I hear some of the shit he does for some of the LSU or Louisiana kids in recruiting, and it's freaking laughable, bro. Like, some of these Louisiana kids laugh at him. Hence the kid at Barb that's committed to Mississippi State. So maybe you can find a way to, I don't know. Lee says, with you on that 100%, Blake. Love Mike, but if he had never played it for LSU in the glory days, what if we been able to consider him? And here's another thing. I think that former LSU baseball players, okay, I love them to death. Love them to death. Seriously, I do. I love Ben McDonald, Todd Walker. Seen Todd had hitting clinic with Todd Walker multiple times. Rick Green, I know he's active on Twitter. All these guys, Love them all. Seriously, I do. So let me preface that by me saying this. They are all these guys that played under Skip are highly emotional behind this coaching hire. There have been some bad things reported. Todd Walker works for ESPN. Ben McDonald works for ESPN. You got that name on the back of you got that logo on the back of your name that says ESPN. You got to start being right. God forbid if we did that. God forbid if I did that. You got to be right. When we say that he's in, and look, I know Ben didn't say this. Todd was saying that he's in Baton Rouge, that Mike Bianco's in Baton Rouge currently. He wasn't in Baton Rouge. He was hosting a recruit. I think that there's some highly emotional individuals that want Mike Bianco to be your next head coach. I understand it. I wouldn't be, and let me say this because a lot of people ask me why I hate Mike Bianco. I don't hate Mike Bianco. I think he's a good coach. I am okay with it. I don't love it. A lot of people don't want Cliff Godwin. They think he's got a fat face. Isn't that right, Stan Pokey? Jim says Scott Woodward has his man. Give it time. He probably does. There's some rumor that, Tony Vitello's told people that he'd never tell LSU no. Ever. Sheesh. Think about that. Stan Pokey says Mississippi State coaches in the mix. Yeah, I don't believe he is either. Robert Playson says, I agree with you that Kane hit and miss a lot of recruits, especially in Louisiana. He was a horrible third base coach. He was Charles Reese says Kane leaving isn't a bad thing, but he did recruiting solely by himself, but a lot of the changes will be there to stay. With that being said, you can use your paid assistants as a recruiter. Need to use that on a coach. I don't disagree there. Charles says next head coach will be able to recruit. They're going to have to. Because you're missing too many kids in the state of Louisiana. Guys, I don't give two shits that Paul had the number one class in the country last year. He missed 4 guys in the state of Louisiana that are really good and played significant time for their team. It's freshmen. Clifford Moore says, what makes you think he's a shitty recruiter? Because, again, he's missed a lot of kids in the state of Louisiana. A lot. I mean, you got the kid, the West kid in Barb, okay, that you just can't miss. You can't miss. They've done that multiple times in the state. They've had multiple kids that they've missed on in this state that have gone to Ole Miss, Mississippi State. One kid's at Texas. One kid's at A&M. I think that was a starter. You can't miss on Louisiana kids. You can't miss, especially when you got – I think Zach Arnold's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me twisted. Especially when you hear that LSU never once watched Zach Arnold play a day in high school baseball, and they signed him. Not once. Not once. Guys, you can't let that shit happen. You don't let that shit happen. Chuck Wade says, is McDonald in the mix? No, not anymore. Kenny says, I talked to my neighbor yesterday, LSU pitcher, and he's okay. And he said that he talked to Vitello and said TV was cool. Tony Vitello was a cool guy. I think he's a cool guy too. Darren says, I don't understand why some fans think Kane was a huge loss. I'm with you, Blake. He was average at best for us. Yeah. I think I'm not, again, when I say all this stuff, people think I'm trashing. I'm not trashing. Guys, he's a horrible recruiter. He's a horrendous recruiter. Regardless if he's paid or not paid, he's horrendous. You can't convince me that you can't walk in a kid from Barb's house and get him to commit, but yet you got guys from Moo freaking State that can do it. Henry Bennett, morning. Good morning, sir. He says, "God believe since they haven't announced a coach by now that the target is still playing. Go Tigers." Yep. Just as Brian O'Connor is a dark horse in this race, national championship coach. Yep, and coach with Paul Maneri in the USA team. Rob G on Twitter says you have to think that Corbin, Vitello, O'Connor are the three candidates. I wouldn't mind any one of those. I wouldn't mind any one of those. I will say this with O'Connor, you are getting Paul Maneri though. Like, let's not get that one twisted. You are getting Paul Maneri. Look, we'll call it what it is because people don't like me saying this. Paul Maneri is a damn good baseball coach. He's a damn good baseball coach. Let's come on. Brian O'Connor is equivalent to Paul Maneri. They're really good friends. I think that he doesn't have a better landscape of kids to go get like Paul does. He still gets to College World Series multiple times. So I will personally, I wouldn't mind Vitello or Corbin. At least let him tell you no. Derek Street says, "Good morning, Blake. Got them football tickets yet? Going to be a great season." Yeah, I mean, I'm really, it's interesting because I'm looking forward to this coaching search being over so we can start talking football. Like, I feel like I can't move on yet. I mean, because the head coach at LSU baseball is a big deal. Like, it's not something that's just chump change, right? Like, I want to talk football. Like, I want to talk to LSU's had a huge recruiting class. Let me tell you something. It's June 19th, 8:30 on June 19th. Let me say this. I'm going to tell you guys something. I probably shouldn't have tell you. I'm not saying this is going to happen. Actually, I don't deep down think it's going to happen. If you think LSU does not have a chance for Arch Manning, you're absolutely nuts. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay? There's some shit I'm hearing around Arch Manning. Listen. I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, let me back up. I would be surprised if he signed with LSU. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be jaw dropped, shocked. I think LSU sits in a good place, guys. I do. Some things I hear. Stan Polkley says, "Yeah, you don't hire a coach with a fat face." Talking about Cliff Godwin. Jesus. My buddy Stan, no, he don't like Cliff Godwin. Tasha Thibodeau, good morning from the Real LSU Nation. She says, "Good morning, Blake." And C. King from Talking Tigers Sports on Facebook says, "What's up, Blizzy Blake?" Well, we're feeling better, my guy. We're feeling better. Wish we could talk some football. Lee Drake says, "I want Tony Vitello. He's a young, yeah, you know what? He's a young Thundercat. That's what Tony Vitello is. He's a young Thundercat." Chris Rushing said there's a few at Barb to watch. Yeah, and they've missed him. They missed him. Rob G says, "So much lazy recruiting under Coach Palmieri." There was some real lazy recruiting. There was a lot of lazy recruiting. Darren Jackson Jr. says, morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Craig Duncan says, "Can I ask you a question?" Sure. What has Vitello done seriously? He's had one good year this year, so it makes him an incredible coach. He also had an experienced team this year. Sorry he doesn't have a large sample size for me to hire him as our next coach. I'd rather Bianco over Vitello if it came down to it. Well, what about this? What about this one? I get what you're saying, but I do think it's something that here's what I think. Tony Vitello has gotten his team to a College World Series that's tied with Mike Bianco in less time. That's just the truth. Guys, the truth is that Tennessee has not given Tony Vitello more resources than Ole Miss. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. Look at their freaking stadium. Experience, I get it. But I do think that there's a new age and a new era. And I do think that you have to sometimes be innovative of what you're going to do. Guys, I think Mike Bianco's a good coach. He's also gotten the College World Series once. I keep asking people, well, why does Mississippi State do it? Well, they got a little bit better resources. At the end of the day, bullshit. Guys, Ole Miss is 5th when it comes to expenses in college baseball. 5th. They are putting a lot of money into this. They can find ways. We act like there's no scholarships that Ole Miss wouldn't give to athletes. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I talked to a kid. I'm not going to use his name. I talked to a good family friend and he played at Ole Miss. And I asked him about that. I was like, man, I asked him about Coach Bianco, loves Coach Bianco, loves him. Doesn't want him to go to LSU. And I understand that. But he tells me that he goes, man, I thought I was going to have to pay out of pocket, but there's so many scholarships that I can get at Ole Miss that I could apply for and get. And that's how I went into to Ole Miss, is because I could get one of these scholarships. So let's not act like we don't have the resources. Guys, in 21 years, I think we got to take into account that he's only been to the College World Series once. And let's say, well, Ole Miss, Ole Miss was just as bad. Well, it's taken him a long time. Kay Griffin, what's up? He says, why is it so difficult for us to hit the baseball? Round ball, round bat, try to square it up. I mean, it ain't easy, but I get what you're saying. Stan, we got some people in here who say they want Godwin. I don't mind Godwin. Dylan Holly says, I want Godwin. Bob Taylor says, listening from Atlanta. Love your show. Thanks, Bob. My brother's got a restaurant in Atlanta. Hit me up, DM me. I'll send you the address, and you can go have lunch at my brother's restaurant. It's a Cajun place. Ryan Taylor says, look at the way they couldn't hold on to Mo Hampton. Yeah, I think that's a little bit more on Mo Hampton. A little bit more on Mo Hampton. Mark says, good morning, Blake. Robin Williams' voice from Vietnam. Good morning, sir. Blake McGraw says, my guy, it's football season. Not when you don't have a head coach in baseball. It's not. I wish it was. Stephen Frey says, hashtag bring the Thundercat. We can make a hashtag. You know what? If you want Tony Vitello, I'll support this. Go to Twitter, go to Facebook, at me, and say hashtag bring the Thundercat. If you want Tony Vitello, hashtag bring the Thundercat. I'll get behind it. Rob G says Vitello was the architect of his teams from TCU and Arkansas. I agree with that. Edwin Reeves says biggest problems for most people with LSU baseball coaching hire is personality. Maneri was outstanding, but not wow factor. They're going to have to hire someone that understands the culture, can recruit, and a big personality. And well, that sounds exactly like Tony Vitello. Sounds exactly like Tony V. Chelsea Roberts, good morning, ma'am. She says, people saying Vitello hasn't done anything, must not know the dumpster fire that Tennessee baseball. Yeah, they don't understand. They don't understand. I mean, look, they were more than a dumpster fire. More than a dumpster fire. He goes there and he wins. Mark says, Godwin is my choice if we can't get Corbin. Hashtag bring the nerd if you can. Robert Plazon says, for those say Tony Vitello a 1 year wonder. His second season, he won over 40 games. COVID season, they had a good record. And this year they're in the College World Series. Yeah, he's a good coach. He's a good coach. Chelsea Roberts says, hashtag Tony the Tiger, hashtag bring the Thundercat. Hit me up on Twitter. I'll retweet it. Derek says, bring the Thundercat. Lee says, bring the Thundercat. Okay, we got a lot of bring the Thundercats here. Brandon says if it was Bianco, it would have been announced already. I believe that too. Let me tell you what I've heard, and and I probably should have said this off the top. So let's see, 32 minutes. Let me say this. I might edit this and put this one together because I think people need to know this. Guys, let me tell you something. Me personally, I think that there's a power struggle at LSU, and a lot of people have laughed at me when I've said that this week. Why is Mike Bianco in the running here? Why is he in the running? Is it because he went to LSU? Yes. Do I think that Scott Woodward has major boosters coming at him, telling him to hire Mike Bianco? Yes. Do I think that there's former coaches that say hire Mike Bianco? Yes. Do I think that there's former players that say hire Mike Bianco? Yes. So you're not going to tell Scott Woodward what to do, though. If Skip wanted to hire Mike Bianco, he should have done it in 2007 when he hired Paul Maneri, because Skip's not going to get fired. Only Scott Woodward can get fired here. And don't you dare tell me, well, Blake, he wasn't experienced enough for Skip. Bullshit. Guys, in 2005, they were in a Texas regional, okay, about to get to the College World Series. They made multiple super regional appearances and regional appearances. Don't tell me that he wasn't experienced. Chad says, why doesn't LSU have more scholarships for baseball? That's a national thing. They got 11.7. So that's not on LSU. It's not on LSU. A couple more, we're going to get out of here. Carlton says, chopping it up with you this morning from West Houston out here, Blake. What's good? Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Mr. Scott on Facebook says, checking in from the Woodlands, Texas, Louisiana native. Hashtag Go Tigers. Good morning, sir. PCG says players respond to Vitello Maneri puts them to sleep. You bet. I don't know about that. You need to listen to Zach Pearson when he's coming on this show. Paul would get after their ass now. He'd get after their ass. Bob says our next coach is in the College World Series right now, no doubt. Kenny Russell says at this point, Vitello and Corbin are the ones who make sense to me that Woodward is targeting. I agree with that. Carlton says, I like saying Thundercat. I'm down with that. Yeah. Hashtag bring the Thundercat. Young Thundercats. Let me see. Here it is. I already got him on Twitter. Bring the Thundercat. Of course I do. I like saying the word Thundercat. That's fun to say. Kirk Paul says, I'll be at the College World Series all day today and tomorrow and Monday. Want some footage? Sure. Jamie Hodge says, Vitello with Gotro as hitting coach. I don't know if Gotro would come, but it would be fun. Guys, by the way, Andy Canizero can't come to LSU. I'm not going to say this again. Somebody brings up Andy Canizero to me again. Number one, I'm going to lose it. And number two, I'm going to laugh at you. Stop saying Andy Canizero. He was in the dugout texting people. His players were snorting cocaine and doing steroids. He was cheating on his wife. Yes, guys can have second chances. Go bring your second chance over to Nichols right quick. Then we can talk. His first place can't be LSU right now. You understand? LSU's is a shit show. Understand this. I shouldn't say shit show. LSU's under fire. Stop saying bring him here. Lonnie says bring me Jeff Willis. Jeff Willis is an asshole. Jeff Willis should never be the coach of LSU. Ever. Kurt Paul says it's an NCAA thing, 11.7 scholarships for 30 players. Yep. Stop with the Andy Canizero stuff. Stop it. You're making yourself look like an idiot. Kenny Russell says, whoever we get best be available, and I'm willing to bet make the College World Series next year. I think you got to give a coach a year. You got to give a coach a year now. Year 2 and year 3. Yeah. Tony Weaver says, that boy, Joe, we are live repping LSU out there in Texas at a how do you say that? Give me a breakdown. I'm not good at pronouncing shit. I got CTE for my playing days. Derek says whoever they get better be squeaky clean. Maybe not squeaky clean, but I mean, just don't have anything on the record. And I don't want to hear this thing about well, Tony Vitello keeps going on dates with women. If somebody tells me again and bitches again about Tony Vitello going on a date with a woman, a single man going on a date, stop. I mean, I don't get it. Wayne Wagasback says, did Nolan leave for the same position? Yes. Kurt Paul says the roster is stacked. 2 years champs. Bet. We can see. We'll see. We shall see. All right. You know what? We're going to cut this one a little bit short. Thought I could come in here and make it a good little show. We've been in it for 40 minutes. 40 minutes. So thought it'd be good. All right, guys. We will see y'all again soon. Y'all have a good one. Kyle says O'Connor is clean, good recruiter, PM connection, been to home multiple times. I agree. And won a natty. All right, guys. We'll see y'all again soon. Y'all have a good day. Peace out, guys.